Our goal today is to make a name design. We'll use a pencil, some markers, a piece of paper, and then later we'll be using some colored pencils as well. To begin, we're going to make bubble letters, and probably the easiest way to do that is to draw really lightly with pencil the letters of your name as you would just regularly. So I'm using one of my son's middle names, Josiah, and I'm trying to make sure that my letters are spaced out. I'm using an uppercase first letter and then lowercase letters for the rest of the name, but if you'd like to do all uppercase, you can. Then I'm going to basically make a bubble around the outside of the letters. So I am kind of going around each of the lines that I made, and I'm using some rounded edges to make bubble letter. I'm going to go ahead and do the same with my other letters, going around the lines that I already drew, and then adding the bubble effect to the letters. I am taking my time and trying to make my lines that I'm adding about equally distant from the letters that I've drawn. You can see some of my letters touch each other, and that's okay. They'll overlap a little bit. It's not a big deal. If you can do bubble letters without drawing the letters first, that is totally fine. You don't have to do that step. But this makes it easy if you're not sure how to do bubble letters. Now I'm erasing my original lines that I put in there so that I just have the bubble letters left. Now that I have my letters in, I'm going to pick a color or colors, and I'm going to trace over my letters with the marker. For this one, I decided to do all of my letters the same color, so I went with blue. And I'm just tracing over my pencil lines. If you decide you want to do a lighter color like yellow, you may want to lighten up your pencil lines before you do it so they don't show through as much. But the blue is covering over the pencil lines, so it's not a problem. Now I can go ahead and start coloring with colored pencils. And I'm using the same shade or the same color that I chose for the outline. So I'm using a blue colored pencil, and I'd like to add a little bit of shading to my bubble letters. So to do that, I'm starting off with just coloring lightly the entire letter, and then I'm going to use a little bit more pressure to kind of go closer to the edges, just to kind of darken the edges of the bubble letters a little bit and make it look like they pop out a little bit more. So I'm just pushing down harder with my colored pencil along the edges of the letter to make it look like it kind of pops out a little bit more. Add a little bit of shading. If you have a longer name, you can always turn it diagonal, like Elizabeth, and you can see I use different colors for that one. All right, back to Josiah. We've got all the letters colored in now and shaded. And now it's time to add some things to the background of the page. So I'm thinking about things that my son likes to do, things that he could use to add to his picture. And one of the things that he likes is football, so maybe he wanted to draw a football. Another thing is video games, so I'm going to go ahead and draw like a video game remote. Thinking about maybe sports, activities, things he does in his spare time. Once I have a couple things drawn, I'm going to go ahead and outline them in marker, just like I did the letters. And then I will use colored pencils to color them in. The marker gives a really nice bold line, and then I can use the colored pencils to shade later. I'm using fat markers for the line. If you would rather use skinny markers, that's fine. You just have a thinner line. Another thing that he likes to do is to travel, so I thought I would make a suitcase to show travel, and then fill that in with a marker as well. I was thinking about maybe some animals. Maybe you have a pet dog or cat or fish that you'd want to draw. My son likes to catch frogs in our yard, so I drew a frog. And then he also likes to catch snakes, so I added a little snake on the side here too. So you can see I kind of have a cartoon feel for these that kind of go with the bubble letter effect. For each thing that I'm adding, I'm going to draw in pencil, and then I will outline in marker to make it nice and bold. Some other ideas of things that you could put with your name would be foods that you like to eat. My son likes to eat ice cream, so I decided to draw an ice cream cone. I'm adding some candy, because whenever he has money, he likes to spend it on candy and sports cards. I'm throwing in a lollipop too. So just think of anything that you like that maybe would tell people more about you. Activities, animals, food, things you do for fun, maybe your favorite holiday. Anything that lets people know a little bit more about you. just going to add one more thing, which is a sunshine, because summer is one of his favorite seasons. And then I'm going to add an outline of that as well. Try to at least fill up the space around your name. If not every little area is full, that's okay. Now I'm going to take colored pencils and color all of the objects that I've added to my picture. If you want to add more details to them, you can. I could have added maybe a design or pattern on my suitcase, for example. All right, you can see that I've gone through and added all the colors. I've also gone in and added some color in the background as well. When complete, you can put it on a background piece of paper to kind of act as a border for your project.